Well, wouldn't the river lead towards the ocean?
Yeah, but it's coming like from the lake, going outwards. The river's not leading up to the lake; it's coming down from the lake because the water would come from the mountains, from the lake, or the glaciers rather, and then that leaks out.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I mean, I would have had it connecting to the top ocean there, but that one's frozen anyway. And whoever drew the river didn't draw like that anyhow.
Wait, if each hex is 20 miles, how big is the beaver dam?
I mean, it's going to be the icon's going to be bigger on the map just to signify where it is. It doesn't mean the beaver dam is like 2 miles across.
What, you don't want just like giant prehistoric beavers?
Yeah, but even if they were giant prehistoric ones, it's probably not going to be 2 miles across.
Each one of them is like 20 meters tall.
Although, I mean, for it to be big enough to actually appear on a map would mean that it's a significant dam anyway.
Oh, it might be the only one on the whole river, therefore increasing its significance.
That seems highly unlikely, though. How would you only have one beaver dam?
Because it's all frozen most of the time. Because they all congregated in one area.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably like, I'm sure I read this about beaver dams as well. Like they build on top of the old ones, so you used to have ones that were like hundreds of years old.
Yeah, I heard there's some kind of like mental thing with beavers where if they hear running water, they'll like want to instinctively build on top of it.
Yeah.
So so there's probably a lot of them, or at least one or two of them.
I'm sure I read they just like generations of them just keep building on the same thing, and that's why you used to get like mega structures made of it. But of course, not these days because we fucking destroy them all. Right, where are you thinking you started a bit?
Can't even get the thing to work at all. I feel I can do set up my phone here and follow on this way.
Jack, you want to give us a description of who your character is?
Besides the one I gave the last time. Like
Just to remind us who you were.
Name's Evander. That's pretty much a scout, pathfinder. Do odd jobs for this chief.
Do you like the village pathfinder type
Yeah,
person?
but pretty much like just go out and find shit for him.
What does your guy look like?
Just average height, black hair, black eyes. Nothing special.
Has he got facial hair?
Nah, he keeps that clean.
And Alex, what's your guy?
He's Eladin. Is that how we decided to pronounce it?
You can pronounce it any way you want. I'm just teasing you.
All right. Yeah, he's Eladin. He's he's a druid apprentice for the village druid. He's the young, like just became an adult or about to become an adult or whatever. The green generic druid clothes.
What is it called when they do that? Going on like your maiden voyage, but it's like to be your manhood, to be a man. What's it called?
Your maiden voice to your man.
Yeah, but that's not what you know what I'm trying to say. I just can't think of the word.
Some kind of ceremony or something.
Vita passage. Your vita passage into manhood. There you go. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah, where you go in a room with 6 Greek guys and spend like an hour there.
Now you gotta go find. You gotta go on your journey. Gotta find something.
depends what culture you're in. Yeah.
Checking all working now yet?
I can hear you. I think I'll just turn you up. I was watching one recently. Oh my god, where were they? It was a tribe. I can't remember where they were. Somewhere in Africa, I think. And the rite of passage. God, what was it they were doing? All the guys were naked, basically. This is what they were. They were all like standing around naked, and they were all doing like this dance with each other and shit. And then they get these big, massive fucking canes, and just start like, well, they go one-on-one fights, and they just like beat the shit out of each other with these massive canes that are like fucking 12 feet long or something like that.
Jesus fuck. What
Yeah,
the fuck for?
it was so fucking brutal, man. And like they're all fucking scarred and cracked skulls and all this kind of shit, man. But that's like what they do, man, when they're like writing the boys in, and they'll fucking just like batter each other.
Surprised I have anybody who makes it through.
And all
Sounds
the,
like some kind of Russian thing.
and they had all the women standing at the side, and the women are like, picking out their favourites of who's going to win and all that kind of shit, because the lucky guy gets to marry one of them and shit, man. I was like, there must be a better way to like sort this out.
There's gotta be a better way than this, guys. Come on.
I mean, what culture does that?
I wish I could remember what the tribe was. It was somewhere in I'm sure it was an African culture. Bizarro. Tink, why don't you remind us who your guy is? And what he looks like?
My guy is just known as Runic. He was a rich lord in the past who got involved into like lots of lures and rituals, and he decided to perform one and performed it incorrect.
I don't need his whole background. I just need to know like who he is and what he looks like.
Right. He's quite tall. What's it called? He's got goat legs, basically. He's still quite fairly sort of lean, I'd say. And like his top half
Yep.
is very lean. He's always wearing like big long clothes, obviously, and dropping all the way down to practically his legs to cover up, obviously, his clothing.
And his whole bottom
Right.
half is like goat's half.
Yeah, he's a big goat half. Yeah,
And he doesn't have any horns or anything like that. It's just his lower half.
it's just his lower half. He doesn't have horns or anything like that.
Right. Sure. What's his face like? His eyes and his facial hair and such.
I'd say he's quite handsome because he was brought up to be a lord. He was very proper looking in the past, so he still tries to maintain a wee bit of function that way. But his hair's completely scuffled now because he's not got any money at all. His face also is a bit worn just from like stress and worry and pain, basically. But you can sort of still see that it was more well kept in the past.
I find myself questioning your association of being handsome with being wealthy, but okay.
As meaning more obviously like it was
Well
pampered
groomed and stuff, yeah, I know what you mean.
maintained. Aye. And
I'm
you can
gonna-
sort of see the foreshadow of that a wee bit.
I think back in an environment like that, if you were wealthy, you're probably a little bit fatter than everybody else too, because you ate good
That is true, yeah.
compared to the rest of us.
Yeah, and in a lot of cultures, you were attractive. I had a bit of fat on you.
Yeah.
Because as well, I mean, in Europe in medieval times, if you were like muscular and tanned because you've been outdoors working, that was a sign of being like lower class as well. Whereas if you were pastier and scrawny or fat and not muscular at all, that was more a sign of like wealth and aspire to.
I wouldn't say he was really fat, but he would probably been but pale, yeah, he'd still be very pale.
Oh, I mean, I imagine everyone's pale in this since it's a winter, frozen harshland type environment. Oh no, that's not true actually, because the sun reflects off the snow and it makes you very tanned. Anyway, how do I ping on this fucking map again? Is it control?
You just hold the left click.
Oh wait, I'm on the fucking ruler. That's what it is. Yeah, so we're going to start down here in the bottom left of the village. That's the little diamond. Do I have a name for the village? Give me a name for the village.
Make it an Italian name.
No, please don't. I'm not a fan of the Italian. I'm sorry.
Luxon.
What's the word for river in German?
Right, I'm going to call it Omwan. Because I have a typo here that says Omwan. That'll do. Yeah, so in the village of Omwan, and this is, you're all from this village, yeah? You're not like wandered here or travelled here or anything?
I'm from here.
Yeah, my guy's from here too.
Yeah, I'm living here now.
Okay, so you know there is a woman called Mara in this village. She's like an elder. She's well respected. She's well liked. You know that her husband, she's now a widower, but her husband was once the carpenter for the village. He was a very valued member of the community. He was very well respected. They had 3 sons. Their middle son was called Mikhail. And he died of disease several years ago. The husband sort of like died of old age a few years ago as well. And the widower was just left with her and our 2 remaining sons, Thurin and Rorak. A couple of years ago, Rorak, who is a younger, sort of bullish, hot-headed, that almost naive, aspirational, ambitious sort of youngster, he up and left because he was sick of the village life and wanted to go seek fame and fortune. And then they hadn't heard from him in about a year, a little over a year. So the older brother, Thurin, went to search for him and to just find out what happened to him, not necessarily bring him home. And that was about a year ago. Since then, Mara has received a package from a trader that recently passed through the village. This trader had met another trader at the old mining town to the north. And that trader had passed on a package to him, asking him to deliver it to Mara in this village. And the package was just a simple piece of brown parcel kind of paper, or actually probably not paper, a little piece of leather. And in it was this finely crafted beaded necklace, which belonged to her youngest son, Rurak. There was nothing else there, and Mara fears that this has been sent back to her because he's passed. She can't think of any other reason why he would have been separated from such a treasured item gift from his father. And now she's appealed to people in the village, even though we're at the start of winter, and it is not the time you want to be travelling, for someone to go out and to bring back, or at least find out what's happened to her sons. Because she's herself an old woman and she doesn't know how much time she has left. And you 3 intelligent men have volunteered to do so.
Alright, to us.
Yeah, so when you meet Mara, she's this diminutive small woman, very hardy for her years. She's probably somewhere in her 80s. She's very mobile still. She's got bad hips. She kind of limps around. She has a cane. But she's got one of those really icy cold grips from somebody who's lived a hard and long life in this environment. She has these like steely green looking eyes, and gives you like a really hard stare when she's talking to you, though she has a very warm smile and a very sort of comforting manner when she's speaking. And she shakes your hands and wishes you well and blesses you by the gods on your journey that you return to her news of her sons. The only clue you have to go on at the moment is the necklace, which came from a trader who's already gone south. But do you know that he spoke to a trader at the old mining town before then? So with that in mind, and your supplies packed, would you mark 1 debt on your sheet, and then you can decide where you want to go.
Really head to the old mining town. Is the most logical place to go to first.
Yes, let's cross these desolate wastes, find whoever it is we're looking for.
Well, we could travel the river through that way to get most of the way. I can't remember if we had a port town anywhere or anything.
There
It's got
is a
right,
road
right.
that goes to the old mine town from here. It's about 4 days travel by road if you take that. Or if you want to navigate around, you could take the river. Which would be like 3 days at double speed, and then you would trek for the last 2 days.
I can just take the boat.
Probably quicker down the road then, yeah.
Okay.
Up to it, let's hop to it. Literally as a skip as a boat.
Can I ask if anyone had spells? What spells did you take?
I have shapeshift, heal, shield, and reanimate.
Jesus.
So you're packing quite a lot of magic.
Yeah, he's a druid. He's got to learn a bunch of magic.
Y'all level 1 skills then?
Reanimate is. The rest of them are at 2. I don't have any 3s yet.
Okay, so
He also has a survivalist, orator, and cook.
you will be prepared because you've got full supplies. And you know your destination, so you know how long it's going to be, 5 days. And if everyone's marked a debt, then I guess we can do a roll for the journey. And it'll be the Pathfinder Scout that's leading the way, so he's going to be the one making the roll.
Three in that skill, so I roll 3d6.
3 plus you get 1 dice by default. And I'm sure we get 1 here for preparation as well. Time party's finished. Okay, yeah, so you get 1 dice, you get your skill dice, you get a dice because everyone's fresh, you get a dice because your whole party is prepared.
So 6 dice total.
Yeah.
There's not even a 6 on this thing. Got 1 4.
How? How?
Still made a 4.
That is incredible.
I guess do we get to choose what bad thing happens on the trip?
So first of all, everyone marks fatigue for the journey.
We didn't fail though, did we? Like we did like competition.
4 is a partial success if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah, I know I got 3 ones in a row, but
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to
mo-
make the journey. You know the path to travel. It's just going to be a bit hard going because of the weather. So everyone's going to take an extra fatigue.
So now do we only mark a cold if we do something? Or is it still if anyone in the party does something?
You mark a cold if you're doing something without a heat source.
Okay.
So we should all take a cold in this travel, technically, then.
Well, you have full supplies, so you'll have a heat source. But I would just mark off one of your supplies. Yeah, so mark off a supply if you don't want to be cold. And then everyone's going to mark off a supply for each day of traveling. And I said it was 5 days. So you're either going to run out of supplies when you get there, or you're going to take a cold and still have 1 supplies left.
Can I look for supplies on the way there?
Yes, you can forage to refill.
Well, Hunter, so I'll be doing that as well.
Yeah, you can do it individually. Now remember, when you make a roll, you mark fatigue. So 2 successes, that's 2 supplies for everyone.
So we only mark 3 supplies for the journey then?
Yes.
I'll leave you in hunting then. No point doing 9 as well.
Well, I mean, you could do yours as well, it just means you're taking fatigue.
Yeah, and then we probably
I've
have
already
to
got 2
rest
fatigue.
on the way there.
We're already at 2 fatigue already because of the journey and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's a long journey. But I mean, for traveling for 5 days, it's 2 fatigue, it's not bad.
I'll try for the supply then. I'll have 3 fatigues, what's worst to happen. So I've got Hunter at 3, so that's 5 dice then, is it?
4 dice, unless you've got a trait that applies.
Well,
Yeah, because we're not fresh anymore.
sharp-eyed for scouting. That's more for scouting and stuff, though. I don't think.
But what does it say for sharp-eyed?
Great for scouting, but can lead to paranoia.
Yeah, I don't think that would work.
Alright, so Hunter at 3, so it's 4 dice then, yeah?
4 dice, yeah. Okay, so that's another 3. And if there's any excess, it just goes into nothing.
Should we rest before we get to the village or the mining town?
Well, this will take you right up to Mining Town because that was your destination. So yeah, so over 5 days on the roads, you know, it's hard going, but it's an actual road. Laid down gravel and rocks and dirt. The snow's quite light as you make your way out. You have to cross a couple of rivers and a couple of bridges. Those are quite sturdy and well worn. You have to travel through a short outcrop of hills on the way there, and sometimes this is where you might expect to be ambushed by bandits or such. But given that it's the start of winter, there's not a lot of people kind of hanging around the roads in this weather, unless they really have to. So your journey is quite uneventful until you arrive at the old mining town itself. Now, the Niddle region here, I can't remember who it was that created that. That was just a giant, like, working mine pit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so before you even get to the town itself, you can see the massive mounds of dirt and ore that have been piled up, create a kind of artificial hill on one side of the Niddle. And all around it, you can see earthworks, ramps, structures going into the earth, into this massive circular kind of area. It's as if someone has just, like, clawed a massive, like, handful of dirt out of the terrain and just, like, you know, dumped it to the side in this big massive mountain. The scale of the mining operation is just beyond anything you've really seen, or something that's hard to believe that human beings are capable of doing. But this has been done over an extended period of time, and at its peak the mining town here had several thousand people working on it. It was a huge operation, but now that they've assumedly depleted the reserves of iron that they were mining here, the town has been left to rot, and there's only maybe 100 or so people left in the town trying to eke out a living here, going into the mine and trying to just, you know, find scraps of ore that might have been left over to try and sell to get themselves get by. The first thing you notice when you enter the town is the people that are here, that are still walking around outside, are definitely sick. They are coughing, they are sneezing, they're all, you know, heavily bundled up and wrapped up as you would expect in this kind of weather. But there is definitely some kind of sickness going around. It's very obvious from people that you can hear at a distance.
What an awful, wretched place.
Hold a bit of cloth around my mouth to heat. trying to avoid breathing.
Use this village one.
Come, let's find a place to rest and tell a story of our great journey so far.
So although there's a couple of like reindeer animals that have been used for pulling sleds and stuff, there's not any horses, there's not any cattle. The reindeer themselves don't look particularly well fed. All the trees around here have been felled and turned into timber for the building of the structures. Many of the houses in the town look to be dilapidated, caved in from the weight of the snow in the ceiling, and deserted. Only a few of them seem to be inhabited. You can see like larger buildings that used to be like offices for the mining company. Larger, grander houses that might have been home to like officers or the chiefs that were overlooking the workers have been left and abandoned. They've been looted of furniture. They're not, it doesn't look like there's anything left in them.
Can I use 2 supplies to get rid of 2 fatigue, or do I have to wait between using them?
No, you don't need to wait between. You can just use them if you want.
All right. Is there an inn if we look around, or anything that looks like it could be an inn?
Yes, there'll be a building that is clearly an inn or a pub of some sort. Lights are on, smoke's coming out the chimney. You can hear like laughing and talking inside.
Eladon just like looks at the building, then looks back at his 2 companions. Well, should we go in or not?
Keep walking. Let's go. Come on. No point. Wait in the bush. It's too cold for that.
We need to make contact with whatever trader. Oh, that originally had that message to or that package to pass on. If he's still here.
I'll be able to find it from the Baron if I ask.
Sure which one uses better music.
All right. Eladon's just gonna go in front and just slam the doors open loudly with a unnecessary amount of enthusiasm.
Sure. You slam the door open and burst into the room. You can see there's not more than 6 or 7 people in here, including the bartender. The ones that are there, there's a cough and a sputter between them. They don't seem as sick as the other people that you saw walking around. They're all crowded around their tables. There's a roaring fire in one corner. And they're all kind of like huddled over and nursing their pints and their meal. And they just stare up at you in silence for a second as you burst in.
Eladon just lets out a laugh and just, what a glorious establishment, and just makes his way over towards whoever looks like they work here.
Yes, there's a very thin man with a very thin, dark mustache behind the bar.
Eladon's just gonna say a lot louder than necessary. Just 3 meals for me and my companions.
So he's like, hey, so we go in? And our answer is like, no, we should keep looking. His answer, slam the doors open, go in anyways. Is that what I just gathered from this interaction?
I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Are the other 2 in with him, or are you 2 still kind of standing outside like, what the hell's he doing?
I think I get kind of whiplash, like, oh, I thought you were going to keep going.
I'm sort of standing in the doorway as he's just sort of pausing and staring at him doing this.
He just looks back and sees you guys aren't following him. Then turns around and just starts rambling off nonsense to the innkeeper as he gets his food ready.
Yeah, I mean the innkeeper is like taken aback at first, but just nods and starts to like pour you a drink, slides it over to you, looks around behind you to try and see how many of your friends are with you, and then picks up 2 more glasses and fills them up as well. In fact, unlikely to be glasses, probably more likely to be sort of battered tin cups. Well, there's not much for eating, but we can certainly serve you some stew.
Does the stew look edible?
It smells delicious. It's not, doesn't look very appetizing, all brown and murky and sludgy, but it smells delicious.
Yeah, you could add spices to anything, make it smell delicious.
And that's what people often did, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a massive like iron pot behind the bar, with a sort of weak fire underneath, and it's just kind of bubbling slightly. It's probably one of those eternal pots.
Is the bartender sick?
He's got a bit of a sniffle, and he wipes his arm, his nose with his arm a couple of times, but he's not coughing like the other people were coughing.
All right, I guess I'll eat the stew. I don't think he sneezed in the food since I've been here, right?
Not
He did that
directly.
before he
No.
walked in.
That's what gives it flavour.
Yeah.
That's the secret. All right, he'll start eating the stew. Will that get rid of another fatigue?
Trying to find the rule I made up for in a town. Settlements, here we go. No, you'll recover like your fatigue and your cold and that kind of stuff once you find lodgings for the night and actually stay here. And then somebody will make a roll for it. But if you want to do any like asking questions or anything like that just now, that's what you should do.
I'm gonna ask the barkeep about who's the sort of leader of the town in terms of merchants and what.
Well, we don't have a leader per se anymore. The mayor up and left a good while ago. And there's just a few workers been left here who couldn't afford to make the journey, or they didn't have anywhere to go that stayed behind. And of course we get merchants and traders passing through from up north and down south, coming and going with their wares and their furs. So I guess I'm as good as any man when you're looking for someone of authority here, since I've been here the longest and I pretty much know everyone.
Is there anyone who comes here more frequent than others, merchant-wise? Looking for someone who's probably been here within the last few months.
Oh well, with winter kicking in, I think all the regulars have kind of passed through here in the last few months. Most of them heading south. They've been up here and collected the trappings and the furs and the pelts, and they're heading south to sell them. There's only a handful that would actually stay this far north over the winter months. Is there anyone in particular you're looking for?
We're looking for someone. He did some sort of barter deal for this item. I show him the necklace. Trying to find the owner of this necklace.
We gotten the trader's name from the other trader.
That trader didn't give Mara a name for the other trader. But you would have known the trader that passed through your town, so his name was Thomas. Yeah, so he looks at the necklace that you have. It's like, I might recognize it. Yeah, I think Bjorn was here a few weeks ago. He was staying over with a couple of the other lads, and he passed this on to someone. I remember him showing it around at the bar. But if you're looking for him, he's long gone. He headed north to the free tribes for trading over winter. I think he's got a wife up there in one of the tribes.
That's most of the useful information.
And he has a
Do you have
little.
anywhere we can stay here today?
He does a little cough, a little clearing his throat.
Eladin's just gonna lean over, like very obviously, and just whisper very loudly, "I think you want some money now."
Put some coin down for now to say it, and I'm saying if you also need any sort of any hunting done or anything recently, I'm quite well trained in such. Help pay for lodgings.
Do you have any social skill, Tank?
I'm peasant. That's the only social skill I've got.
That'll do. Do you want to roll that with 1 dice?
So 2 for that. So 3 then.
And you'll 3, but you'll lose 1 dice because this place is in decline.
Oh, good luck. I've picked in too many dice, haven't I?
Yes. Just, you said you had 2 dice, so you only got 1 dice.
Yeah, because I've got peasant at 2. That would be 2 dice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
No, sorry, peasant at 2 is 3 dice, but then you're -1 because it's in decline. So you're rolling 2. Yeah, that's more like it.
So it's going with the macro. I was using that for rolling it.
Well, because whenever you roll a 6, doesn't it add an extra dice?
Yeah, it explodes when you hit a 6.
Alright, that's fine then. I was wondering.
Okay, so your second one there with the 2d6 is it? Because you get 4 results. Yeah, because that's a crit, you get 2 6s. Yes, there's plenty of room here. We don't have actual rooms per se. Usually, a lot of the traders will just roll up a mat or something on the floor. But since this is the first time you're here and you're being so generous with your coin, perhaps I could offer you some lodgings in my own home. I've taken over accommodation at one of the Lord's Manors to the rear of this inn. And if you want to, you can have a room there. There's plenty of bed spare.
That'll be brilliant. Thank you very much for your kindness.
Seeing so many people have left this village and a lot of people are sick, is there any signs that the village is haunted? Like, can I see any spirits around with wizard sight?
Is it Wizard Sight a skill or is it just an ability?
It's a trait. It says, can see the auras of others and signs of spirits.
Sure. So you can see the auras of the people around you in here. I mean, most of them are fine, quite healthy. You can see the barkeep though. He has a weak aura, indicating that he is on the verge of sickness. And when you're coming into the town as well, you definitely detect magic in the air. It's not focused on any one area in particular. It seems to be present all over the place.
I'm gonna ask him about, so where did all the people in the village start getting sick?
He kind of looks down at the bar and starts like scrubbing it, almost like he's wishing you hadn't asked that. And at the same time, the other men that are sitting there drinking in the bar, they go kind of like hushed and quiet, as if they're like waiting to hear what the reply is going to be. The man like looks up at you with his very thin, drawn face, and opens his mouth as he's about to say something, and then you all hear what sounds like the long, loud howl of a wolf, kind of like echoing around outside, and everyone just like stops doing what they're doing into utter silence. And then one of the men on the side table whispers under his breath something in a language that you don't understand. And a couple of other men start making like signs across their chest, religious symbols.
That sounds like trouble. This is so much-
It's a local superstition. I'm sure it's nothing you need to bother yourselves with. Here, and he's the whole time he's saying is he's staring at the door, and he takes a key out from his belt without even looking at it, and hands it over to you. This is the key for my lodgings. You can take your soup back there if you want. And he looks over to the men in the corner and says, "It's probably time you all be getting home now. Be dark soon." And the men, without a word, sort of pushing their chairs and grab their soup and finish their ale and leave the inn.
Now use lore master, sorry, to sort of see if I remember anything.
Sure.
Like the situation. We've got 2 for that, so that'll be 2 dice, Jen.
3 dice. You only got -1 last time because it was to do with the settlement, and the settlement's in decline. I mean, there's any number of superstitions about wolves out in this part of the world, and how they can be like ominous, bring bad luck. But to know like a specific one that would apply here or to this circumstance, you're not sure. So, I mean, gathering that there is a sickness here, they could be superstitious in making a connection that isn't there, or perhaps they're linked.
Right, lads, we've got a room to stay in, so let's go. I don't like being in company of so many people, just in case they see me.
What's Draken, you guys the hunter pathfinder, right?
Scout Pathfinder. I don't do any hunting. That's the other guy.
That's me. I go hunting.
What's your name again?
Runic in it.
Eladon looks back at Runic and how common are wolves in these parts?
Wolves are usually everywhere, but there's always stories about wolves and diseases and things like this. There's nothing really to tie it down specifically, though. No having me hunt for it. If you're up for a bit of late night hunting in the middle of the wood, in the dark caves of the woods here.
Well, there's no woods because they've chopped down all the woods, but it would be the mine.
Might find some interesting wee treasures or trinkets around at the mine still. Supposedly there's wee bits left over.
Should we wait until the night and go and search the mine for the wolves?
At nighttime? You crazy?
So obviously with winter
Well-
drawing in, it does get dark earlier, but yeah.
We'll rest for a bit, bury our weary fatigue away, and then possibly head out then if you want before we head out to the next set. It'll be worthwhile maybe see if we can get any sort of supplies or anything before travelling further north to find this trader or merchant.
Yeah, so if you just want to pitch down for the night, you can mark a debt, and then you can restore all your colds, all your fatigue.
I'm up for resting.
Yeah, I'd rather vest and then keep heading out. You know, we didn't really get any kind of lead on where to go next, did we?
I said the
I'll be
trader you were
back
looking
in-
for went north to the freeland tribes.
Oh, freelance tribe. Okay.
So we should we try to find out what's happening in this place?
I mean, we could, but it's not the job we were sent on, and we're already kind of 2 years behind schedule.
I missed what you said there, Dragon.
I said, it's not the job we were hired to do, and we're kind of already 2 years behind schedule on finding the guy, technically. But if it's stopping us from going forward, obviously we need to take care of it.
I owe the village for taking me in, so I'll gladly try and help pay it back by finding the lost children.
Alright, so it comes down to, like, do we want to stick our nose in this place's business, or do we just want to keep going on with our own business?
Well, I guess if we already know where to go next, we should probably just rest and head out tomorrow.
I mean,
That's
you're already eating and you're going to get a rest and warmed up by the fire. So before the night is out, you could also do stuff if you wished. When you see the Lord Manor house behind the back, you can see that it used to be quite grand. It's a little more worn now. The bartender's obviously taking the time to board up the windows to try to insulate it as much as possible. You can see on the inside he's got like blankets and furs draped over the windows and other doorways that have been boarded up to try and keep it as insulated. And there is 3 bedrooms there in total. You can see the one that he sleeps in. The door is locked. There's like a living room and a kitchen area that's been set out. You can see like cutlery and stuff lying around. And it looks very lived in, and it smells like it's been lived in. But there are 2 other bedrooms available for you guys to pitch down if you just want to like rest.
How well are the bedrooms that we have? Or how well is the bedroom that Aladdin finds himself in?
What do you mean, how well?
How well kept is it? Like falling apart?
Oh
Or
no,
is the
it's
wood
fairly
cracking?
it's clean. It's all boarded up and quite insulated. There's like a little candle beside the bed. You can tell some other people have slept here in the past, but the bed's been like, you know, cleaned out and made up again. So it's quite neat and it's quite well kept. But there's plenty of space to make yourselves comfortable. The beds there are like packed with straw, which is much more comfortable than lying on the floor. And they're covered in blankets and furs to keep you warm.
I think we should rest up and then we'll try and get some gear together, because not really got any gear really too much.
Well, you have a full gear, so anything you want gear, you just mark it off and pull something out.
And I think we started off with like full supplies, gear.
Yes.
all the
Every-
stuff we needed.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to set on a journey like this without stuff on you. And because you did the hunting, I think your supplies are full again anyway.
Yeah, my supplies went all the way to empty with that.
Yeah, it's just because I use supplies to get to heal to get more fatigue back, so in case I was going to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so you settle down for the night, get the fire going. It's quite warm. When you're all wrapped up in your blankets and like that, it's quite warm to sleep as well. You can hear the wind picking up outside. It must be like hailstones and then sleet. You can hear rattling against the boards on the side of the building. You can hear like creaking on the roof as like the weight of the snow kind of like shifts in the wind. The temperature drops dramatically as the sun disappears, but you're able to stay cozy enough inside. After a few hours, the bartender comes in and he has like a very small bottle of this really, really potent liquor that's been brewed up, and he offers you all a drink as a nightcap before he just goes into his room, closes his door, and retires for the evening. It's not long after you've put your heads down to rest for the night. You maybe get a couple hours sleep before you hear a long, drawn-out wolf howl once again. It sounds a little more distant this time, but more kind of like echoed, as if the wind is carrying the sound all around. It definitely sounds like a singular howl, but it does sound as if it's coming from every direction at once.
I wonder what they want. Did you two hear that also?
Staring out the window.
You can then hear the man in the next room coughing in his sleep.
Okay, I hate to bail. This is the first session, but I can barely focus on the game.
Sure, no problem, mate.
I'll catch you guys next week. Sorry for leaving.
Yep, no, that's fine.
Catch you later, Dragon.
And see you guys.
I think narratively as well, Evander, it doesn't feel well. He feels sickly, nauseous. He curls up in the bed under the covers and just falls into a deep sleep. You two are sitting in the room, and during the night at one point, Elodin, you can hear like something scraping along the side of the building, as if someone with a huge hand with long nails is just dragging them across the wood.
Startled, Eladin just like tries to transform into a squirrel.
Okay, you might roll for that. This isn't a trait, this is your spell, correct?
Right.
Okay, so of course your mana. But yes,
Where is the
you-
mana marked at?
it's your level plus 2, I think I decided this time round. So you should have 3 mana, this will use up 1 mana. Yes, you successfully turn yourself into a squirrel.
Yeah, he just turns into a squirrel and just runs up the side of the room into the rafters. And then you just hear him chittering, like looking around to see if there's anything outside.
Sure, you peer outside, the sky is all clouded over, blocking out the starlight. So it's next to pitch black outside. You've only got the very dimmest of night vision. You just see a hulking figure just slink around the side of one of the buildings off to the side. Looking, if you get down into the snow, you can see there's like long, elongated footprints in the snow. They're quite deep, indicating something quite heavy, large.
Guys, there's something outside.
Or the aiming a bow and arrow, looking around, says, "Where is it? Was it? What's going to get me?"
Well, I mean, imagine you just hear a squirrel going beep, beep, beep.
Squirrel, aim the bow and arrow that quickly.
Jump down and land on top of the arrow. Like land on top of his bow and just like stare at his face and start telling him what I saw outside.
Don't understand rodent.
Evander just kind of groans in his sleep and turns over.
I'm going outside to see what the commotion is.
Sure. Creep to the front door of the building, pull the door open, it creaks open, you stare out. The wind's howling around, there's like flurries of snow going everywhere. It's next to pitch black outside. You look left and you look right. You know, there's the shadows and outlines of buildings against the white snow. But you don't see, doesn't seem to be anyone out there. I mean, who would be out there in this?
I'll head back in, just make sure, and just sort of tighten and make sure the door's definitely locked.
Yeah, you come in, you pick up the key you were given earlier, put it in the door and turn it to make sure the front door is locked. There's like a slide bolt on the inside as well if you want to use that.
Yeah, use slide bolt as well.
Yeah, it thuds into place.
And I'll go back into our room and sort of look around and make sure all three of us are there.
You walk over to, because it's all in like, well, there's 2 levels, but you walk over to the stairway, and just as you do, you hear like a kind of rat tat tat scrape sound on the front door.
Aim a bow and arrow at the door, just as a reaction.
Yeah, there's a moment of silence of nothing, and then there's a thump. There's something like thuds against the door, and then thud against the door again. You hear the door kind of like rattle as it's like thudding against the slide on the inside.
I'm going to try and go upstairs, see if there's a window there. I can get a sort of advantage what's out there.
So the windows are all boarded up, like I said before. You pull back a blanket or something, and you can see the boards that have been put over the place to try and insulate it.
Yeah, I can see if there's any other sort of entry points are not secure. Just check, make sure everything's secure.
Sure, checking the building. There's probably 4 windows in total. They're all the same. They've been boarded up. And now you're starting to question, have they been boarded up for insulation, or have they been boarded up to keep something out? There's only the one entrance door, which is the front entrance. And as much as you're kind of listening and waiting for another thud or a scrape or a sound, there's no more sounds from the front door.
Can I peek out the window again to see what's happening?
At the rafters?
Yeah.
Outside of the building, it doesn't, I'm not sure where the rafter would come out. There doesn't appear to be anything. It's just the same tracks that were there before, although they're now starting to fill up with snow already.
I'm going to research around the house just in case I can find anything, sort of information, books or lore or anything like give me.
Okay.
headless gold
Do you have any search skill?
Probably not. I think if all it's lure master, hunter, peasant, nah, nothing like that would probably be searching things like that.
Okay, so you would just have 1 dice.
Would my wizard sight let me see anything odd?
If it's magical, it would.
Yeah, it lets. Oh, it's not magical.
I'm getting really lucky in my dice rolls.
Yeah, so under one of the beds that you're sleeping on, you find a journal. It's very thin. There's only a few pages in it. But somebody who was sleeping here at some point has left it here and tucked it under the bed and forgotten about it. Which might seem rather unusual in itself. As you're kind of like looking through it, it's the kind of thing you'd expect from somebody who's like on a long journey through the wilderness. They've written little poems, observations they've made of animals and people they've met or seen. But in the last entry, it describes sitting here in this cabin with sounds outside, howls, scrapes, barks, the cries of men, and then just a wish for this night to end.
What's Blue Guy's character's name again? What right then?
Aladdin.
Aladdin, yeah.
Well, where's Eldon? He's probably
As-
playing use of these poems. Yeah.
As you say that, you just see a squirrel jump down and just transform back into him.
I forgot you do stuff. You can do things like that. You might find this bit the poems bits more interesting. Throwing the book over.
I'll look through it and see if I can find any clues about what's happening.
Again, the last entry just kind of hints that whoever was here and was writing their journal was writing down a very unpleasant experience of sounds, animal sounds, howls and barks and such from outside. And the cries of men, so clearly someone was being attacked or involved in a fight with an animal outside as the man was writing.
Can we hear anyone that sounds like they're being attacked?
Nope.
Place is all secure. I can't see anything outside. It's too windy. It's too dense. That snow and hail.
Should we go out and see what happened? What it was?
Too dangerous at this point. Probably better wait until the morning at least, or till the wet snow calms down a bit.
So you just want to wait till morning? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, by the time dawn comes, the wind has died down, nothing else happens during the night. Maybe on occasion you think you hear something moving around outside, but when you go to look through the rafters or peek through the cracks between the boards, you don't see anything. By the time morning comes, Evander is definitely sick. He's running a temperature, he's all choked up, he's coughing, sneezing. He maybe has like a flu or a very bad cold. It doesn't seem too severe. The bartender, on the other hand, is coughing and retching and wheezing. You try to knock on his door and he shouts for you to just leave him alone between the coughing and the wheezing. He doesn't sound like he's well at all.
Maybe best leave them for now. We could try and look see if there's some sort of medicine we can use to help.
Can you turn your mic up a little bit, Tink?
That any better?
Yeah, it's a lot clearer. So, I mean, you have supplies. If you have something you want to pull out of your supplies, you can spend the supplies to do that.
I've got the thing healer. I wasn't sure if that would apply or anything.
The healing skill, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, you could bust into his room to try and attend to him if you want.
What about trying to heal Evander?
I mean, Evander just seems like he's like sick, like a flu or something. You think? I mean, you've seen this before, living here and stuff. The best thing for him is probably just to stay warm and keep hydrated.
Maybe we should go explore the village and look for clues while waiting for him to heal.
Alright, let's go have a go. Let's go look and see what we can find.
Okay, so you just pull back the bolt on the door, you slide it out, you unlock the door, creak the door open. You know, so like another 8 inches of snow have fallen overnight outside. As you peer out, you can see that there's definitely large animal slash humanoid footprints. I mean, it looks like the shape of a human footprint, but it's much longer than it should be, much deeper in the snow than it should be, even though it's like snowed in and mostly covered up. Whatever it was, it came right up to the door here, and you can see the slight sort of indent against the door where it's like pushed against it or bashed against it. And then along the sideboards of the building, you can see where 4 sharp claws have been like dragged along the wood.
Don't only like this building, it looks like it's been touched, or is there any other buildings look like they've been touched?
So just like yourselves, there's a couple other guys who've been in different buildings overnight, and they're kind of like coming out, collecting their tools, and they look as if they're heading down towards the mine to try their luck, I guess. If you want to go over and look at their buildings, you can see their buildings have similar marks. And now that you're looking, you can see there's lots of scratch marks on a lot of the buildings. You can see scratch marks around door locks and window places where something has been trying to get into the buildings. And some of these, you know, look as if they're been there for quite a while.
I'm not liking to look at this. But I'm always up for a good wee hunt. If you're up for having a wee trial and see if we can see where this wolf thing comes from.
Of course, it'll make an excellent story to tell when we return home.
I think with your mage sight as well, Aladdin, you can see sort of wispy trails of magic between the buildings. So some very potent magical force has kind of like been through here during the night.
Can I start following it?
It's all over the place. It weaves in and out the buildings of the whole town. It looks as if it's gone right around the town at some point and then just worked its way around the entire place.
Can I try to find out where it's strongest?
Sure. Do you have a perception skill or anything like that?
No, just a wizard sight.
So 1 dice then.
I wouldn't get an extra dice for my trait.
The trait is wizard sight.
Yeah.
That's what's allowing you to do it in the first place.
Oof.
No, I said it's all over the place. This is unusual, but it seems like it's maybe been disrupted by the weather because of the way it's kind of like wafted it around, as if it was a very thick mist that's kind of just hanging around the area. It's quite unusual because usually magical signatures are quite defined. You know, where something has been cast or where something has happened. But this seems to just be kind of like be all over the place.
I use my hunter skill sort of to track the prints and see if I can sort of work out the location where they're coming in and out from.
Do you have the tracking skill?
I've not got tracking. I've got hunter at 3, and I've got sharp eye for scouting.
Do I actually have tracking as a separate skill?
Let me check.
No, not anymore. I think it was in the first one, but
No, yeah. So your hunter will apply for that. Then yeah, you could roll hunter.
That's 3 for that.
Plus the one you get is default anyway. And remember, take fatigue when you make a roll. And you're not in the presence of a heat source either, so you're going to take cold. Now, I will say you can mark off one of your gear or your supplies. No, probably gear. You can mark off one of your gear to have first, and that would stop you marking off the cold.
okay.
I'll take gear for that, and I'm taking gear for a bow and arrow. So I was using that throughout the
Yes,
thing.
yeah, that would work. Yeah, I mean, for 2 successes, you would definitely be able to. The tracks are, as I said, snowed in, but they were so deep beforehand, they're still obvious where they were. You're not going to find any extra things. There's no scat, there's no fur. There's just basically the tracks in snow is what you're following. And they definitely go in the direction of the mine.
All right, Alan. It looks like they're heading towards the mine, or that's where these things are coming from. So they must be nesting within there.
Huh. Maybe that's why everyone left.
You hear whistling, human whistling, and a couple of yells from deep down in the massive open circular mine area. Some guys that have already worked their way down some of the levels and gone down some of the ramps and stairways. And they are quite jovial and just like yelling at each other and whistling stuff as they head off into one of the mines.
Maybe worth following them. At least we know it's safe down that way.
Sounds like a plan. And Ellen will get his staff ready in case they run into anything or
Sure, so mark off a gear and that's your staff.
yeah.
Sure, you make your way down the stairways and the ramps to the bottom. From the way down here, you can just appreciate the scale once again of the work that's gone into digging this out, carving it, digging down a reverse mountain into the earth. And you can see many of the mines here, they have been, I don't want to say barricaded, but they've had like carts and stuff like shoved in front of them, clearly to mark them as like ones that are not worth bothering going into. But there's a couple down here at the bottom that are still wide open, and you can hear the echoes of the men who are like singing and yelling at each other as they go into one of the mines, indicating which one they've gone into. So do you want to go into one of the ones that sound quiet but are still open? Do you want to go into one of the ones that have been kind of blocked? Or do you want to follow them, the workers?
I think check one ones are blocked. What do you think?
Which one do the footprints lead to? Or are there footprints down here?
Once the footprints kind of get to like the edge of the mine, it's a lot kind of rockier. And going down the slopes and stuff, it gets murkier and it's harder to kind of determine which one of these entrances is actually going into. The tracks are not as clear as to define exactly which one of these is going into. You just know it's going down into one of the lower sections.
The men are safe and they're singing, and it's not likely it's there, so it's likely down one of the other tracks. Actually, try maybe the blocked off one, see if there's anything we can see that way.
So like an old kind of rusted cart here. It's mostly made of wood, but it's held together by like iron clampings and stuff. and it's been like tipped over. There's probably another one that's kind of like smashed on top of it and it's been piled up together in front of one of these entrances to try and just indicate that it's blocked off. You could easily pull these back and clamber over the top of them to get inside if you wanted, though.
They look like they've been moved, or is it space for, like, say, animals to get through or anything? Or is it just like to act just like a simple barricade?
If you want to roll your hunting to kind of track again to see if any of them have been disturbed.
Okay.
I remember it's going to be
Is
fatigue
that an
again.
extra dice for scouting as part of this, or that not?
No, it's going to be one skill or the other. You can get an extra dice for your sharp eye if you want, but you won't need it anyway.
It was more the sharp eye I was talking about, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first couple don't like they've been disturbed in quite a while. One of them looks like it's going to be like being freshly blocked off. There's some like broken chairs and stuff have been like piled against it. Someone has like shoveled like gravel and stuff in a very weak effort to kind of block it off. But in that kind of pile of loose gravel, you can see like imprints where something has definitely passed through here.
Got a signal to Aladdin, not making too loud a noise. I think it's this way. Let's go.
And to be clear, this main entrance is opposite the entrance that the men went into.
Let's head down. Let's go.
All right, let's see what this monster is that's haunting this village.
I mean, the lights, it's pretty bright actually with all the snow and everything, I'd imagine, but going inside, clearly it's going to get very dark in here very quickly.
I'll use a torch and part of the gear.
I think I've got torches listed as the supplies rather than gear.
Oh, you do, yeah.
But yeah, if you mark off one, you can have you can like light up a torch. Excuse me. Right, yeah. Yeah, you light up a torch. You enter the mine. Right away, you can see like the tracks that were laid down to pull the carts along. Made of wood. You can see shovels and stuff that have been kind of like left by the side. You can see sacks of dirt and rock that have been piled up into a sort of alcove at one side. As you get deeper in, you can see little kind of wooden shacks have been constructed in one of the larger open areas where they've opened up one of the veins. And it looks like there's bunks and stuff, leftover tins, flint and firewood that's been like left out and just sort of like left in here and frozen over. And the mine itself seems to like go on, and then there's a couple of shafts on the left and right go downwards, and it looks like they had some sort of pulley system constructed, presumably for some kind of like primitive elevator. Or you can go deeper into the tunnel and it looks as if it starts to like slope downwards.
Can I see anything odd with my wizard sight? Like anything magical or like ghost or anything?
Not down here, no. Whatever was floating around up top doesn't seem to have came this way.
What should we do? Should we keep looking? Should we go deeper?
There we go deeper. I'm going to take a listening just in case I listen. Can I listen out in case I hear any sort of noises or sort of
Yeah,
crackling?
you listen out, you can hear, like down the shafts at least, you can hear, the echoey drips of water. Not enough to be a steady stream or anything like that, but obviously just excess water dripping down from icicles or what.
I'm going to search the cabin bits where people were living in case there's anything I can find in there. That indicate where something might have been or where they might have found something when digging.
Okay. Do you have Dungeoneer?
I do not know.
Do you want to roll
Ironically,
you want to roll your
I'll see that
hunter
one.
again then, since you're hunting? Because you are like actively stalking something. Yeah, I've got hunter is tracking the hunting game. Yeah, there's definitely there's no tracks in the ground because the ground is too frozen and hard. There's no soft gravel here, so there's nothing to leave an imprint in. But you do find a tuft of hair, which you would recognise as wolf hair, snagged on one of the nails by the entrance.
Okay, let's go further down.
Lead the way. I'll be
So
right behind you.
do you want to try and there's like a winch handle that you could use to try and pull up the elevator. You could try and climb down the rope of the elevator, or you can just go down the tunnel.
I think we'll go down the tunnel. I think it's safer.
Yeah. Who's going down in front? Who's leading?
I think it's going to be me. So,
Reluctantly, yeah.
way.
I mean, you're the one with the tracking skill. You should show the way.
You carry the torch, I'll hold the bow and arrow, aiming at everything.
Alright, I'll take his torch from him.
Sure. You start to go deeper into the night. It's a kind of calmness to the silence in here. The absence of light. The feeling of kind of like that slight pressure of being underground and everything above you. But it's cold down here. You can see your breath still, but there's something about the stillness that's just it's either unnerving to you or it's calming as you head further down. You can see the rocks are like kind of black and dark, and then they become sort of more like reddish tinged with streaks of yellow through them. And as you the tunnel starts to like turn at right angles and seems to be sloping down deeper each time. There are like exploratory tunnels being dug out, not very far, every so often as you go down onto the sides left and right. And as you go down for about a couple of minutes, and then you find some of these exploratory tunnels get longer, and they seem to go off in different directions and wind down in other directions. And you quickly get the feeling that without some sort of method of marking your route, you could quickly become very lost down here.
Right, so I think we need to head back. It's too in depth down here.
I mean, if you have a method of like keeping track of where you are, you could use that. Or you could stick to like this one sort of main winding down structure and see how far you get down. But as the deeper you go down, the more and more tunnels are like splitting off. And as you kind of shine your torch down them, you can see that they're quite long tunnels, and they've also got turns and other tunnels splitting off from them as well. But it's quickly becoming quite a wide network.
Can you see if any of the rocks that are in this place sort of charcoal like in a sense? Not charcoal, sort of chalk like in a sense, so it like marks the wall in some way.
I think you could definitely find something like that, a sandstone or coal or something similar, that you're able to kind of like put a mark on the wall. The only issue is the light from a torch is not that great. It can be hard to kind of make them out. And the actual colour of the rocks, changes because the type of rock they're digging through keeps changing.
Yeah, I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Sure. So it's not wholly consistent. If you wanted, you could pull like actual chalk out of your supplies as well. But I mean, I would let you mark it without doing that, but it's not going to be reliable.
Yeah. Follow me, just continue on the path. We'll wait until.
Alright, so you want to use the rocks to crudely mark it and just go down as best you can.
Yeah, but we'll keep down to like the main path while doing so.
Sure, I'll wait for him to get back. I was thinking it's going to be tough with 3, it'll be even tougher with 2 of you.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm being very cautious.
Yeah, so I'll just be a moment. I just gotta do my laundry really quick.
Yep, sure. What's your fatigue at, Tink? Because you make quite a lot of rolls.
Yeah, I just realised I forgot to mark off my fatigue the last 2, I think.
I remember at any point you can mark off the supplies to restore a fatigue by just like eating an energy bar type thing.
I'm at 3 fatigue then, based on all the rolls. So if I take another one, that would be at 4.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you want to mark off the supplies and restore one of those, or you want to wait until it's dangerously close to full. Just if you end up having to fight something, you probably like, use up a lot of fatigue pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think I'll use 1 supply just now to keep it down. I'm at 2 fatigue, and I've used 2 supplies, and I've used 3 gear so far. And that's just for the flower and the bow and arrows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, you're only ever going to need to mark off the bow once.
Ironically, I've not failed a single roll yet.
No, you've actually done quite well. Got a lot of 60s to explode as well.
Better luck than Torlock usually does.
Well, I mean, drank for rolling, 6 dice at the start and getting 1.
Yeah, I was just saying that sounds like the type of luck we normally would get.
I say, he didn't get any because he got a 4, did he not? No, a 4. Yeah, he needs a 5. Yeah, he didn't get any successes. I gave him a success, but he actually didn't have any. Yeah, he used to failed that. Yeah, I mean, rolling 6 dice, he should have got 2, statistically. Which very well might have been 3 if he got 6. Yeah, that's funny.
Hope it to him next time.
Alright, I'm back. So, we're in the cave and did you find it?
We're just walking down our paths just now, so I sort of crudely marked the wall with whatever's on the ground. And we're just going to continue down the main path and just sort of balance our way walking down the main path. Well, that's a decision if you agree to it.
What's your fatigue at, Alex?
Just 1 from
that roll, yeah.
1 from earlier when I searched for the magic stuff, and then 1 for the dungeoneering roll, right?
Okay, so I think you both got 2 fatigue, so that's fine. It's just because I'm thinking if you go into combat, you could probably use a lot of fatigue quite quickly then. Okay, but we have a light source, a heat source, and use it down there, marking your path.
I guess as we're going, I'll use a supply to mark off 1 fatigue as we're walking.
Yep, you can do that at any point you want, yeah. Okay, yeah, so you just go further down. Neither of you have Dungeoneer, correct?
Yes, ironically.
Yeah, we're not. I think Draken's the one who has Dungeoneer.
Okay. And you don't have perception or anything like that? Anything that would, or scouting or anything?
I've got scouting as a trait.
Is a trait, not a skill?
Yeah, there's a trait for scouting. Well, I think it's called it's not scouting. Sorry, it's called Can't use that name, gonna say.
Pathfinding.
Sharp-eyed. It says good for great for scouting. Sharp-eyed.
Yeah,
that's what
sharp-eyed. Yeah, I know you're sharp-eyed. Do you have the scout skill? No.
No, I don't have the skill scout. No.
Okay, so you're going to get an extra die for being sharp-eyed, and you have 1 die by default, so if you want to roll 2 dice for me. You don't need to take fatigue for this one. I said you had 2 dice, so you can roll another dice. Okay, that's fair. Just in case you got a crap. Yeah, you descend down, you're marking the walls as best you can. There's just a big scribble on the wall with a bit of sandstone. The rocks around you by this point have turned quite blue, so that sort of dark blue colour. And you get down here and you can hear like a soft snarl hiss sound. Sounds very dog-like, could definitely be a wolf. And you can hear it echoing through the tunnel. And because you've got the sharp-eyed, you also notice sort of like claw marks again, like scratched against the wall in one of the directions. So you're guessing, using that along with the sound, the sound is coming from one of the tunnels off to your right.
Quietly, just sort of hand signal a wee bit to head down towards the right.
Yeah, you both kind of like move around either side of this tunnel entrance, and you listen out, and you can hear it again, a kind of low growl. Not the kind of sound that a dog or wolf might make if it's been a warning or aggressive to someone, but maybe more like, you know, a growl of comfort, or perhaps it's sleeping.
I'm ready, my bow and arrow to the point that I see it. Fire.
Yep, you ready your bow, pull out the string, aim it into the darkness of the passage beyond. Then there's a sound that sounds positively human, a kind of and it's kind of sounds like the sound Draken made earlier when he was like in discomfort in his sleep and he turned over.
Moving slowly further forward.
You creep down the passageway.
Can I see any? Can I see anything yet, or is it too dark?
Well, you're holding a torch. You can see as far as he can. You can see some way down the passageway. And it just looks like another one of these hewn-out passages. Yeah, you begin to creep down. You know, the light cast from behind you, illuminating the passage in front of you by a good 15 feet or so. And then you come across a small alcove. And there's a pile of rags, torn blankets, shredded clothes, and there is a naked man lying curled up on them. And as he's breathing and making noises in his sleep, he kind of alternates between the animalistic growls that sound positively canine and just the kind of groans of a man in pain.
I'm gonna shoot him in the head.
I don't know. What do you think happened to him?
You want to just fire your arrow into his head?
Yes. I think you know me by now about this concept.
Okay. Yes, the callous, murderous bastard that you are, you just let go of your bow at full, whatever that's called when it's stretched back, and fire at full force into the side or the rear of his skull, piercing him. There's a reflexive kind of spasm with the body, but it doesn't make any sound. It just lies there silently. His blood seeps out one side of the skull.
Eladin's just like freaking out now. It's like, why did you do that?
He's
He
a
could have
wolf.
been sick.
No, he's a wolf. He's a... When you're hunting as much as I've done, you know he's a wolf.
What do you mean? He didn't look like a wolf.
Well, let's go down and check him. Listen to him in case anything else is around here.
You look at the man Aladdin, he's very clearly just like an ordinary looking, pale skinned, not particularly hairy, naked man. He looks to be maybe in his late 40s, receding hairline, thinning hair on top. He's not particularly muscular, he's very lean looking.
Does he look similar to anyone we saw in the village yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, you turn his face over and he doesn't look like any of the guys that you saw last night.
I'll take my arrow back out his head.
I think that arrow's done if you shot it through his skull into the ground behind him.
How many arrows actually do I get per sort of gear for use for that?
I mean, if you're taking a gear, I'd say a handful of arrows, so what, 5, 6, something like that.
So I keep track, so
Yeah.
there's 5 left.
So like probably just enough arrows for a day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're making successful shots, 5, 6 arrows should do fine for like a battle or something.
I use my hunting to check through like the rags and stuff like that and through his body in case I see any sort of like markings or things like that or something unusual.
I don't think
Well,
hunting would come into it. You can have 2 dice just for one normal and one for being sharp-eyed.
Well, at least we should try to bury his body, and Eladin will start using his staff to just scrape a giant circle on the floor around the body.
Sure, I mean, the ground here is literally like rock. So, yes, I mean, you can kind of like smudge it a little perhaps with the. Or maybe use a torch and get some of the ash from it or something. And use that to kind of like mark into the ground a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of hard to do. Yeah, I mean, you're looking around. Sorry, on you go.
I'm gonna try to cast the reanimate ritual on the ground underneath him.
Oh my god. I do have him first. So what sort of thing are we looking for, Tink?
Failed anyway, I rolled a 2 and a 4. So,
Yeah, but what were you looking for, Runic?
I was looking to see if I could find any sort of like, if it's like bite wounds or anything, or scratches or anything around like the clothing, like the rags you were sleeping on.
Yeah, a lot of the
colour.
rags are quite bloodied, dried blood on them. They look ripped, torn, shredded. They're definitely from different persons. They are not all matching pieces of clothing.
I got the rag scene. Look, see, wolf.
As you turn around, you see me casting some kind of ritual around it that goes around the dead body that goes horribly wrong.
Don't bring it back.
I would say as well, when you're rolling and you fail completely, you get an XP, remember?
Yeah, I have 2 XP so far.
Yeah. Yeah, so you do the circle and you try to cast this ritual, but perhaps being this deep down underground, there isn't like enough mana to kind of pull on. And the spell is just too weak to perform what you want it to do. And you fail to cast it.
Oh, I thought it would go horribly wrong.
I don't think I've written it like that, have I?
Or maybe if I got like 2 1s. Would that be enough to make it go terrible?
I think I've just written it as a failure. Give me a second. Yeah, I've been reading these kind of wrong as well.
Yeah, because 5 is a success, and then at a grade 6 explodes.
Yeah. So I've been reading it like wrongly at the start. So 1 hit is a partial success, 2 hits is a full success, and 3+ is a crit. So just getting 2 succeeds is not a crit. I've been too busy thinking about my other game systems and how they work. But yeah, sure. I mean, it sounds more interesting. If you're okay, so the spell goes off and you're trying to reanimate him.
No, I was trying to have the ground open up and swallow his corpse.
What's the spell called?
Reanimate. You bring a construct or structure to life.
Right. That's not really how that works.
No.
Like, you can't bring the ground to life. That's not a construct. That's just the ground.
Oh, okay, so nothing happens. Oh, I just can't cast this ritual anyway.
Just keep your mana and just say you didn't cast it.
But what would a structure count as? Like, would that be a house or something?
Anything that's been like it suggests constructed. So it could just be like a totem. You could be made of. It could be any kind of material that you've put together in a way to be something. So yes, a cabin or a house would work.
All right, Tink. I think I just thought of a new mode of transportation.
I think you and me have great minds alike sometimes. Alright, let's see. I need to find some sort of evidence to make sure there's. Well, check and make sure there's not more than one wolf.
Sure, roll 2 dice for that. That is going to be fatigue, by the way. You can't tell. I mean, it's quite a mess down here. There is scat feces, both human and animal looking, although it's quite large. There's fur that's been shed here, definitely. You can see like bones and stuff that have been chewed and gnawed and discarded. You can see lots of like scratches all over the place on the walls and on the floor. And again, the bloody drags all over the place. So this could be one animal that's been here for quite a while, or potentially it's been a couple of animals. It's difficult to tell.
Right, well, let's just head back. Take anything here worthwhile taking.
I'll try to. I'm gonna roll survivalist to look for anything that's would be useful.
Sure. So that's 5 list plus an extra dice. No, like I said, rags, bones, nothing that's going to be useful.
All right.
Don't know, my fatigue's getting quite high, so I think it's worthwhile either.
Head back.
Heading back and
Right,
waiting
okay.
to see if we can find more clues.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming back and you're taking your time, nothing's chasing you, you can easily just retrace your steps and use the sigils, the arrows, or whatever you've like drawn on the walls to find your way back up. Yeah, deadly calm, silent, cold, but There's no signs or sounds of movement anywhere. Doesn't seem to be anything following you, and then when you get back up to the entrance to the mine, everything seems just as it was when you came in.
That seems useful, except a useless bit of time. May as well see if we can go get that room again, try and rest up for a bit.
Well, we still have the key, and I have a feeling that our host is still probably sick in bed.
I'll ask out around the mountains, see if I can find anything to make like a healing thing with.
Sorry, say that again.
The mass skill healer is basically using like herbs or items and things like that to make healing potions and stuff like that and items.
Yeah, you can use like
Oh,
herbs and poultices and
helpful.
stuff like that to try and treat someone, yeah.
Can I search around in case there's something around the mine here, anything I can use to make something?
Sure, you'd just be rolling your 2 dice again.
Hey, success this time.
Sure, in one of the little wooden cabin shack things, you find a little bowl, and in that bowl, somebody has some like herbs and poultices they would be using. Presumably, that's like the apothecary's shack or something, and they could indeed be used for treating ailments. You can just regain one of your supplies if you want for that.
I think I'll do that. I'll probably use the supply anyway to get my fatigue down. I'm at 4 now, so.
And then how do we refill our supplies? Do we just go and...
You take on a debt, and then you totally restock your supplies and your gear.
So as we're making our way back to the village, can I look around and see if there's any houses that look abandoned but have a lot of the magic I was seeing it earlier around them?
Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. If I can get the sound. It wasn't that one, it's this one. Don't want the sound of the footsteps. Yeah, so as you come up the mine and you ascend back up the ramps and stairways up to the town, the weather kicks in again, the wind's picking up, there's bits of snow and sleet flying through the air, the sky's beginning to cloud over, it's getting kind of overcast and grey looking. And with the weather seems to come that sort of hanging astral mist, and it completely surrounds the mine and envelops the village. You can see it hanging over everything, just a sort of this thin, wispy, glinting colour of magic everywhere.
Do you feel that?
Feel what?
Something changed as soon as we came back up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't feel anything like that.
I think we should hurry and get back to the village.
If you say so, let's move quick then.
I just come back to the village, it's still daylight, you weren't down there that long. And, the guys that were away down the mine are presumably still down there. The only building that has any smoke coming out of its chimney is the building that you left Draken in. Sorry, Evander in. So, what do you want to do?
Should we see if there's anyone around, or should we just head straight back?
I want to see if anybody's about at this time. Although most people will probably work in the mines or whatnot at this time, if there's anyone.
Yes, I'll go with him and help him find anyone.
So you just want to go down the buildings, checking them out, looking for anyone?
Yeah, just having a wee search to make sure.
Okay, so you make your way around the village, looking at the buildings. A couple of ones that guys were sleeping in because you saw the smoke from the chimneys like last night or this morning, or maybe you saw them leaving their buildings in the morning. You go check on those first, and they're all boarded up, just as the one you were sleeping in. The building itself's intact. Some of them got scratches and the bashes on the doors around the windows, like I said. But the doors aren't locked. The doors are open, and if you're able to, you can just push on any of them or turn the handle on them, and you'll find the doors open. There's still warmth inside because they've been left, but the fires are extinguished. Each of them seems to be empty. There'll be like tables and chairs, bowls left out, clothing lying around, some personal belongings, tools. But there's no people. Everyone that was in the village seems to have gone down the mine during the day.
What about all the people who were sick? I wonder where they're kept.
Yeah. As I said, there's no sound, there's no sign of other people. I mean, if you want to go like deep into their houses and properly explore the buildings, you can.
I think what if we look for a building that seems to not have any of the scratches or bumps on it, like the rest of them?
Sure. So the ones that don't seem to have any of those scratch marks on them are the ones that look the most dilapidated. Maybe the roof's caved in, or the walls blown down, or they've just been left open, exposed. There's no windows in the window places. The doors are like being busted open. Everything's been looted, and it's just the skeleton, the frame of the building that's kind of left. Those ones have clearly just not been occupied for the duration of, since the main town left. The main population of the town left.
I wonder if we can. What if we find the first building that was abandoned, or like the one that seems the oldest, but is still standing somehow? Like maybe will give us a clue of what caused all this.
I mean, how would you determine the building that's been lying vacant the longest?
Was not boarded up, basically.
Yeah, and like I said, there's a few of them that are like open to the elements. Some of them are like workers' huts. More so, they are the larger sort of manor houses, which would have been the people in charge, or the wealthier merchants and such that were down here. So yeah, there's a couple of those larger buildings that got 2 stories. No doors, no windows, just holes where those used to be.
I think we might find something in one of those. Should we go and search one of them?
What's your fatigue like? Because mine is very high.
I'm at 2. Should we go rest first, then search through them?
Well, how about you rest first? Like, we'll check our comrades, check the guys letting us stay there. We'll give them a bit of medicine, and then you can head out then. I think that's probably the best option.
Alright, that sounds like a plan.
Okay, so you want to go back to your building for a short rest. You go back there and you can hear the bartender when you get in there coughing excessively. Even between the coughs when he's breathing, it's like a long gasping wheeze. Evander is lying in bed, tossing and turning. He's now got a fever. You like pull back his clothes and take covers off him. Pad him down with some snow that's melted to try and keep him cool.
Is he gonna come back next time and just wonder why his character is now a werewolf?
He's not been bitten. How could he be a werewolf?
Yeah, curse.
But yeah, he's
I'm just killing innocent people.
he's sick, but I mean he might just be overheating as well because he was too wrapped up trying to keep warm and he's kind of feverish. As I said, he's sick, but he's not the kind of sick that makes you immediately think he's in danger. He's just the kind of sick where he's not well. I mean, he is like a fairly young, fit man, so he should pull through. Should.
I'm gonna brew medicine for the innkeeper.
Okay, so spend that supplies that you restored. And you want to go in there and treat him with the herbs and poultices?
Yeah. Is that right? All these gone since we're resting, yeah?
You can have a long rest first if you want, yeah, to restore fatigue. So
Yeah,
long,
I'll use all the
a short rest. A short rest for a couple hours will restore 1 fatigue.
And then I can also try to cook a meal while we're resting.
Yeah, you could cook up a meal to try and enhance that. So I think when you cook, it's every hit is going to restore a fatigue for everyone.
Yeah, but I didn't get any success.
You poisoned us.
Presumably,
I would have just used up one of my supplies, and it would have failed, right?
yeah. I mean, you make a meal and it's okay, but you know, it's not enough to like restore anything. So it's sustenance. It's just like a bland, weak soup. Maybe you have trouble getting the fire going for too long. Maybe the ingredients are just of poor quality, or maybe you're just too distracted. So you know, it's a meal, but it's not filling enough to restore the fatigue.
Okay, I'll use one supply since our supplies got restored since we came here. I'm going to use one supply doing the medicine for the guy, and 2 supplies to take my fatigues down.
Okay.
I'm at 1 fatigue now, and I made the medicine for the guy and to give to him, the innkeeper.
Was that your roll there with 2 successes?
I've not rolled for it yet. I'll do it just now.
Okay. So healing skill +1.
And then I'll use a supply to get a fatigue, and then I'll take a debt to restore my supplies and gear.
Okay.
My healer's at 3.
Okay, so it's 4 dice. Yeah, so you take it in to him. Are you taking any preparations before you go in the room with him?
I'd make some sort of cloth thing to put around my face, sort of protection that way. And obviously just shout that I'm coming and I've got medicine.
Yeah. You've got the key, so even though his door's locked, you know, you can use that key and unlock his door. It's all using the same key. You go in there and he's coughing, wheezing, he's got covers pulled over his face and he's like holding his hand out, you know, kind of motioning you to stay back, and he tries to speak, but he's too busy coughing and wheezing, sputtering to get out the words. And you come in with your bowl of brewed medicine that you've made. As you pull the blankets back from his face, you can see his face, his arm, his skin is just covered in these red welts. Some of them are kind of like blistered and oozing pus, but he's absolutely covered in them.
I help him take the medicine.
And you might
And then-
recognise this as the deadly disease, the red pox, or the scarlet pox.
I'll take precaution and like try and cover before I touch him or anything like that. Make sure there's some sort of cloths or something around me.
Well, you got full success, so you should be okay. If you've gotten the partial success, you might have got infected. But yes, you take the right precautions, you keep your distance, you got a rag around your mouth, you administer him the brew.
Right, hold on a sec.
I wonder if we're while he's doing that, can I am I able to put a ritual thing on my staff, or is it too small?
I mean, I don't think a staff on its own is a construct. If you had your staff and you tied a couple of sticks to it to make it look like a scarecrow or something, that would be a construct.
Take some of the tufts of wolf hair and put it on top.
I mean, you could just take some straw from the bedding. That would work. in like a burlap sack or something.
All right, I'll. Should I roll survivalist to see if I can find enough stuff?
I don't think so. If we've already described the stuff like that's in the building, I think you can just scrounge up enough. You got like a pillowcase instead of a sack, some straw, some firewood sticks, whatever. And you can
Alright, I'll-
fashion a crude scarecrow out of your staff if you want.
Yeah. All right, let me find a good
Back there,
image for it.
Yeah, runic. So I'm just saying you took precautions, so you don't get infected yourself, and you go in there and administer him the brew that you've made him, this healing brew. And it's a lot of effort for him to like get it down. Perhaps with your knowledge, you know that those red welts all over his skin and that they'll also be like in his throat, and that's causing difficulty to breathe. And perhaps even given enough time, they would infect the inside of his chest cavity, and he would end up eventually just like suffocating. But yes, you managed to feed him it. It's not instantaneous, it's going to take several administrations over a period of time before he recovers. But instantly it does soothe his throat and stop the coughing enough for him to actually get a few words out. And the first thing is, he thanks you. Is I wanted to... Last night, about the sounds, I was wanting to warn you not to leave the building during the night. It's not safe.
Some sort of wolf man, is it?
One of the miners from before. I'm not sure of his name, but yes, he was cursed, and the other men believe that his curse is extended across the village, and that is what has brought about the pox. I was hoping you would have stayed the night and then left, this morning and to continue your journey, and we wouldn't have needed to discuss it any further. I don't want you endangering yourselves by, risking yourselves by going into the mines or anything.
You're a little late. Already killed the wolf man.
Oh, you were right. It was a wolf.
He looks sort of confused, bewildered. You've killed him? But
Well, I can tell there's a wolf, and I've seen it and killed it.
I'm sorry. That creature has taken the lives of many of our villagers, even without the disease. And only this morning you've gone into the mine and you've killed him?
Yes, we spirited it. We ferreted away into the mine, right as the morning light, as the moon was fading into the sky, and then as we heard its pain, the man-beast pain calls throughout the mine, we found it there writhing in pain as he was transforming back into a man. And then, I'm sorry, I forgot your character's name again.
Runic.
And then Runic unleashed a flurry of arrows, and before the creature could react, it was dead.
The man just seems astounded that you've dispatched this thing that's terrorized them for so long so easily. But that's wonderful news. You've lifted the curse.
Oh no, your village is still cursed.
But if the creature is dead, surely the disease will fade. Prosperity will return. We can rebuild. We can repopulate.
That depends if it was just the wolf has been one part of the problem. I don't know if my colleague can tell anything. I don't know if my colleague can tell us if there's anything better or anything.
Are you saying there's more to this curse? It's not just the creature.
Ellen, do you know anything more about if there's still a curse in this place?
Well, I still saw it here when I was after we came out of the mine after the creature died. So I assume the village is still cursed.
The man coughs and wheezes a few more times. It takes a minute to clear his throat, to gather his strength before he can speak again. I'm sorry, you saw what exactly?
Oh, as soon as it started snowing, there was a glowing mist over the village and the mine.
A mist?
Yeah, it seemed to be taking something or doing something in the air.
Now the man just seemed confused. And he puts a hand, one of his hand to his forehead as if he's trying to focus his thoughts. And then he coughs and splutters a few more times and retches over the side of the bed and like coughs and spits out saliva. You can see like trace amounts of blood as he's spitting out. Wipes his mouth. And like just wipes it all over his face because he's all sweating with the heat as well. The fever. I'm sorry. I'm feeling quite nauseous. I don't understand. Just the wind, the fog is carrying the curse.
When did this you see sort of thing, the weather sort of changing really bad or going foggy like this?
Well,
How
the
is this
weather's
curse
also
lasting?
unpredictable around here.
But has anyone just gone missing in the middle of a storm where they were somewhere where they couldn't have just disappeared?
Well, people go missing on occasion when the weather is particularly bad, yes. But that's nothing unusual. Some people, they drink too much or they don't take the precautions to mark their way properly and they get lost.
But has anyone someone who no one would expect to go missing or in the middle of a group just vanish in the storm?
Well, the only disappearance of that nature that I can recall at all is Herman, who used to be the woodsman. He was in charge of clearing the wood, the forest around here, using it for firewood and for construction. He oversaw the rest of the woodsmen and the carpenters for clearing the area. And now you bring it up. Yes, he did go missing early on before most of the villagers left.
Then we should go find find what's left of his shack and see if we can find any clues.
If you think it would help, and he coughs a few more times. His shack lies about half a mile out to the east. It used to be deep in the surrounding forest, but of course that's all been cleared now. It stands out there alone with a large barn storage shed, which we used to keep the timber in.
What do you think, Runic? Should we go out and search for this shack?
Let's go check it out. Nothing's going to change here unless we figure that out, and we don't end ourselves getting sick before we have to leave.
You can hear a cough and a sneeze from Evander in the room next door.
And we're no use taking him anywhere just now as well. Let's move it to this hut then.
Yeah, so I mean it's you had the short rest, so it's probably like noon when you step out of the building again. Again, overcast. The sky is it's gone from cloudy and grey to complete cloud cover, and the clouds are quite dark. The wind is still ferocious, blowing. Snow is getting whipped up off the ground and spiraling around, and it's steadily falling from the sky in that sort of hypnotising way that it swirls around. You just step out around the buildings to the eastern side of town and look out across the snowy plain And you can see in the distance a single small shed building alongside a larger, longer rectangular building. Between here and there is only like the frozen stumps of trees that have been once cut down.
Made my bow and arrow as we head towards the huts. So I'm paranoid.
I'm just gonna follow him, just adjusting my new scarecrow.
Are you cast the spell on it yet? Yeah.
No, not yet.
Okay. Yes, so Eladin is carrying a staff, but he is attached a pillowcase full of straw and some sticks to turn his staff into like a primitive scarecrow.
I'm just looking at weirdly as he does this.
Have I got a picture here of like a single shack? I'm just going to use this one because I'm not sure I do. That's an old one. Yeah, you just head across the snowy plain, and you know you get there in a short time, and it's like a 20 minutes walk or something like that, trudging through the snow for half a mile. As you approach this single shack and storage barn building, you can see in the barn building the doors are like wide open and just like flapping in the wind. There's no windows on the side of the building at all. It stands quite tall. You can see loose timber and logs kind of stacked up and lying covered in snow. And there's a single tree standing between the two buildings. It's not very tall. It's maybe twice the height of a man. Obviously, it has no leaves on it. It's not an evergreen. It's bare with its like gnarled and twisted branches. It looks almost kind of figure-like, the way that the branches are kind of like twisted and turned around, almost as if you could imagine them being like long arms and like long streaks of hair sticking out from the top. But it's a very worn and old-looking tree.
Well, this house is in a surprisingly good shape for being abandoned the longest.
Can I inspect the tree, see if I know anything like about it, like the type of tree it is or anything, or if there's anything strange about it?
Sure, roll your lore master.
That's a 2 dice, so 3 dice.
3 dice and take fatigue. Nope, just looks like a tree. It's solid. It's old. The bark is it's like bare, as if the bark's been stripped off, and the wood for it is kind of like a pale grey. But it's definitely just like a tree to the touch. There's nothing unusual about it at all.
I don't see any magic around the tree or anything, or any spirits.
Oh, there is a heavy focus of magic around the tree. It's absolutely caked in that mystical, magical aura that you saw.
I want to go and touch it.
Sure, when you touch it, though, it's just like bare wood. There's no response, nothing changes, nothing happens.
Does the tree have any cuts on it? Or is it just...
No, no cuts at all.
Ooh, I got a great idea. Alright, I'm gonna draw my ritual circle around the tree and put my scarecrow right next to the tree.
Okay.
I wanna try to see if I can use the magic from the tree to make the spell easier or better.
Sure. Let's give me a roll for your casting.
Would I be able to get an extra dice since there's a lot of magic around the tree?
No.
Darn.
Yes, so reanimate, so you bring your scarecrow construction not to life per se, but it's animated. You can control it verbal commands. You can sense what it senses, but it only has like basic locomotion. It doesn't have a great deal of strength.
It's as strong as whatever it's made of.
Yeah, pretty much. It's as sturdy as the construction is. And obviously it's a very stiff kind of movement and motion that it has.
Alright, I'm just gonna pick it up by the staff part and just carry it over my shoulder while it's just moving its arms around or something.
Yeah, and it just like, not wildly, but kind of like waves its little arms around in a circular motion as you pick it up.
I'm just looking at weirdly and saying, I just don't even know what to respond or stare at them. You can go and hut first. You
Yeah, but the storage shed, the doors are flapping wildly open. The building across from it, the single-story shack, very well constructed. There's no gaps in the wood. It's very finely put together. The door is firmly shut. There are wooden shutters over the windows that are also fastened tight. But when you approach the door, you know, you can turn the handle and it will open. It's not locked. It's not barricaded in any way. You can see a lot of time and effort and craftsmanship has gone into constructing this.
I'm going to search the house, see if I can find anything.
Sure. Immediately on the interior, it's just like one large room, and at the rear, a wall has been put in to divide the rear section of the house. And then the back, that's where the stove is. That's next to the chimney and the fireplace. Out front is a bed bunk and a number of chairs, a cabinet, table, all very finely crafted. An expert carpenter has put all this together and applied a lot of skill to it. The grain and everything is just done expertly.
Huh. So it's still standing and nothing's wrong with it, and it hasn't been looted.
Well, there is one thing you notice immediately when you come in. That dividing wall between the two, a skeleton has been pinned up in a kind of crucifix way. It's not been fastened by nails, but there's like long, I don't even want to describe them as wooden stakes. They more look like big, sharp twigs, branches that have been broken off and just driven through the skeleton at certain points, skewering it and attaching it to the wall. Judging by the blood stains in the wood, this person was flesh, maybe just deceased or still alive when they were pinned to the wall here.
Well, that just doesn't go with the rest of the interior at all.
And since it's now decayed to the point that it's a skeleton, this has not just been here for a long while, but there must have been warmth in the building when it happened, because the body has actually decayed and it's not just been frozen.
Is it just like the skeleton bodies or like clothing on the body?
There's clothing on the skeleton, yeah.
Search them, see if there's anything on the skeleton indicating.
Typical players, when you gotta loot through the pockets.
Can I see any spirits or anything when we come in the house?
No spirits.
It's just more of the same magic.
Yes, it's kind of like wafting around in here. But it's suddenly focused around that tree that's outside. Anything else is just a kind of like extension from that. Yeah, you can search through the pockets. There's a couple of coins. There's a wooden pendant. Again, very fine craftsmanship hanging around the neck. It's just like a black string with a wooden pendant at the end of it. It's kind of a rune symbol. It looks like a crouching fox that's been carved into it, or in the shape of a crouching fox.
You recognise anything like this, Ellen?
Would I recognize it from his training as a druid or any stories he's heard?
Something along that, yeah, because if it's a wooden pendant, it's some sort of runish thing.
You got a trait or a skill that apply to that?
Orator, I guess if he's heard any stories about it.
No, orator would be to tell a story.
I don't know. I think you'd have to with Lore Master then.
And you could roll 1 dice. You can always roll with 1 dice.
Do you take fatigue for rolls about knowing stuff?
No, I don't think so. No, Crouching Fox doesn't mean anything to you. It might just be purely decorative.
I wonder, is there... This guy was a woodcutter. I wonder where his axe is. I want to go look around the house to see if I can find any of his tools or anything.
Yes, you find that collection of tools. They've all been bent, broken, or snapped.
Nothing's intact anymore.
No, they've all been damaged. Like something or someone has actively tried to break all of these.
Well, if all this fails, shoot something.
I wonder if he hasn't...
We should-
Can I go to his kitchen to see if he has any like knives or anything in there?
Sure, you go in the kitchen. You open up one of the drawers, and there is knives, forks, spoons. They've been carved or smithed together.
I want to take all his silverware and put it in a bag.
There's no silverware. It's just made of like iron.
It's still probably worth something, right? I'll just take it all. Give the biggest knife to my scarecrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not worth enough to count as treasure. So
Oh, okay, never mind.
it's
I'll just
scrap.
give it. I'll just give a knife to my scarecrow then.
Okay, and the sort of crudely fashioned twig hand sort of curls around the handle of it, holds it limply.
It's just had its arms just like hanging down while I'm holding it over my shoulder. But now it's holding a knife.
Reminds me of the concept of that robot in Futurama. He starts going, ha ha.
There's a kind of creaking sound from the entrance to the house while you're in the kitchen.
Raise my bow and arrow and start walking slowly towards it.
Pull the bow and arrow, pull the string back, you turn around the corner, and that tree that you saw outside is kind of just like creaking, bending itself down to come in through the doorway.
I'm going to shoot the tree. Shoot the tree.
Can I try to? I'm gonna try to block it with the scarecrow. I don't want him to shoot the tree.
Okay, so you're going to roll to shoot, and you're going to have 1 dice less because he's going to try and make it more difficult for you.
It's obviously some kind of special tree.
So
It'll be your archery skill, yeah.
that's an archery at 2, so that'd be 2 dice, then -1, so 1.
No, 2 dice, plus you always get a default dice. And then -1.
-1.
So you'll take fatigue for that, and fire the arrow, and it just goes thump into the soft pillowcase and straw head of the scarecrow.
What are you doing? The tree's trying to kill us.
The force of the arrow hitting it causes the scarecrow to kind of flop over backwards on the ground.
It hasn't done anything yet. It's just coming to say hello.
It's going to come and kill us.
How do you know that?
Anything that doesn't try.
We haven't asked it what it wants yet.
The tree finishes coming into the room and like stands up tall. The branches at the top curling, animated, like almost like hair, sort of slowly flowing and touching the roof above it. It stretches out and curls one of its long branch-like hands towards you. It's, why desecrating my offering? It says in a long, drawn-out, wispy, croaky voice.
We're searching for treasure.
There's no treasure here, only death.
Oh, okay. See? It just wanted to talk.
They're not the thing that's killing everybody, though.
No, that's the curse. This just put the curse.
it could lift the curse.
Or we could
We
kill
can
it.
need our
Or if we
colleague.
kill it, the curse could become permanent, or worse.
Okay, tree-like creature thing. Alright, I know a wee thing about curses here. What do we need to do to get rid of the curse of these people here? We've got a colleague here, and I want to get out of this place as quick as possible.
Those who live here have only got what they deserved. I will lift no curse on them.
My comrade doesn't live here, and he's been cursed.
I have only cursed those who slew my brothers and sisters and decimated the forest that once lived here.
Maybe he chopped down a tree before he came.
You want to carry his body all the way up to the next town we're to go to?
To be clear, Evander is like sick. He's not dead.
Then again, his sickness
not-
could just be completely unrelated to the curse.
I think I described it that it looked very different to the way the other guy looked. He doesn't have the red welts or anything like that.
I think it's just because Runic is that paranoid.
That's perfectly fine,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm that paranoid. Everything seems like it's been cursed or related to something.
I mean, yeah, he might have been cursed. He might have done something or touched something and contracted it. I mean, you don't actually know. But I mean, you would know looking at the two of them. It does look different, although he might just be in an earlier stage.
Okay, so I'll put the trinket back on your offering, like simple things like that. And you tell us a way we can get they can make up so they can repay the curse to get rid of the curse.
Ooh. What if they plant some trees next summer?
I will see to the forest reborn. But those who took a life must lose theirs. A trade for a trade. A life for a life.
What do you think?
We don't really have anything to do with the village, eh? Okay.
Not my problem.
We could always just tell them the curse is lifted. I mean, we can't kill a tree, especially a talking tree.
True. It's a bit of a rare one to see a talking tree, especially in the coldest winters in this place.
Unless, of course, it's a zombie tree. Are you alive still? Or are you a ghost haunting a tree?
I am one of the dryads, the keepers of the forest. I am very much alive.
Oh yeah, see? We should just leave and let them sort out their own problems.
Just a wee note, Mister. If all the people here die here, all it means new people will come here, and they'll probably cause even more damage and more harm. Would not be better than to try and coerce at least with one of the reasonable people. If you kill everyone in this town, no one's going to be able to say that the forests need protected. If not, the village will be cursed.
I will protect the forest. And if more are to come, I will curse them also.
What happens if they're not within your reach? Remember, this is we people or humans are foreign and all around. They could easily bring an army. The mine there attracts many people. As soon as one person tells the word of gold or treasure, that's it.
Or
Yeah, they'll hide.
I will protect the forest to my last.
As I was saying, have one person. That one person is the one to tell your tale. The one person will get then who spreads the word, and then the forest will be safeguarded in tales of stories, so
Like,
no one will come.
stretches out one of its long pointed fingers. Directly at you, Rurik. Runic, sorry. Then you can tell others of your kind. Tell them to leave the forest alone, not to return to this place.
Open up my quotes. Being one cursed as myself is not the valuable asset to the world. Would be the one to take.
I don't know what you're saying.
So I take that I've got goat legs basically. I show that I'm not human. So being the fact that I'm not human means I will not be able to pass the word forward.
I can spread the your message in return for one of your branches, so that I can show them proof of your great power over the forest.
Yeah, the tree like reaches up one hand up to the long branches that are forming a kind of hair above it, and it makes this long sound, and then it just snaps off one of the hair branches and hands it over to a trade for a trade.
Yeah. The deal is done, and I'll take the branch and wrap it around the scarecrow
And
to hold it together better.
as you take that branch and say the deal is done, this like long tendril wisp of magical energy comes out from the branch and just like wraps itself around your head and then disappears.
Well, the trick's on her. I feel like he would have already told people not to cut down trees. I mean, he already stopped Runic from attacking a tree.
Very well, we'll leave this place then and pass the words.
And the tree just
We'll leave this
slowly kind of nods and then makes its way to retreat out, bending down to move out of the doorway and leave the building. And now you leave.
thing. Back to the village we go.
Yeah, you step out of the building and the tree's looming over you at its full height as you exit the door and then close the door behind yourselves, and it just like stands there, solid and unmoving. Any kind of lifelike quality it had a minute ago sort of like disappears as it just becomes a tree standing next to this doorway once more. And you head back across the snowy plain, back to the village, the town. He's going to end there for the night since we're missing a man.
Probably should. Well, that guy. Well, we'll explain to that in guy that basically you've been cursed by a tree thing. There's no way you'll be able to kill it. The best thing you can do is try and find a way to appease it. And spread the word not to cut down any more trees out the forest without speaking to the dryad.
Yeah, I mean, he understands, and he's like, but there isn't any more forest anyway. Are you saying that? Are you saying that I'll recover from this if I just leave and don't attack any other trees?
Yeah, that's
Well,
about right.
We'll speak to the dryad first, probably, if you want to be able to live first.
Yes, you must pledge yourself to the dryad and worship as the protector of of this village.
I imagine he's probably wondering which one of you is more delusional, him or you guys.
I'm carrying around a moving stick person on my back who's carrying a knife and a branch.
Yeah, I suppose if you saw that, it'd be kind of like, okay, something funny's going on here. Moving scarecrow figure thing.
Both our effort in telling you this information pays our debt for staying here, and we will be leaving in the morning.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, if you stay overnight again, you're going to incur another debt. But we can decide that next time if you want.
I can say that next time, see if our efforts of helping their town pays off the debt.
I mean, you can incur debt right up until it's full. You just need to find treasure to pay it off. Which is where you start getting more adventurous and delving into places that look dangerous, because obviously that's where the best loot is.
Yeah, I mean, we failed to find any treasure, or at least I failed to find any treasure earlier.
Worst case, we'll do my motto: kill everything and walk away.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They send debt collectors after us.
I mean, that is what happens. They send, like, mercenaries, bounty hunters to come after you. Let's see, Selma Supply, stay in town. I don't think there is like an end session in here.
It's just our XP, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, how much XP do you have?
I've got 4.
Well, I failed at all my rolls.
All your rolls? Well, just look up it, scroll up in the thing, count how many you failed. Anything like that.
6, but one of the rolls we cancelled because I couldn't cast a ritual on that.
Sure. Yes, and 6 XP, if you get that, it's enough level.
I don't know, so I just have 5 right now.
He's also didn't take the opportunity to tell a tale at any point, so you need to try and remember to do that next time if you want to get more traits.
I should have done that the wee night when we were sleeping there.
Yeah, I also kind of forgot about it. I mean, it doesn't have to be when you're settling down for the night. That's just a more sort of logical point that you would like start telling other people something about yourself.
Yeah, that just doesn't seem like like if there's one of us missing though.
I'm surprised nothing really too bad happened. I was expecting anything to go wrong.
Well, you aced both rolls that might have triggered it, so the werewolf knew you were there before you discovered it, and then you did the other one because you were creeping up on it. So, and then you decided just to kill him without doing anything, so he didn't have the opportunity to react or do anything to you. So yeah, I mean, if you find him sleeping during the day, you're just going to kill him. That's just the way it goes.
And then the Dryad, I was
Yeah,
fast enough to stop
Yeah,
you.
you prevented the Dryad getting injured, and the Dryad didn't attack you because of that, because it didn't have any reason to. So, because I was worried the Dryad might actually kill you or hurt you.
Our group's very passive, this one, compared to the previous ones.
It depends where you are. You also, because you did the journey at the start, if that wasn't like a full success, you might have ran into like trouble. Because I had a list of stuff you might have ran into. But if you make good rolls, you're going to make good rolls. But remember, like last time, it starts off, you've got lots of dice, and everything goes pretty easily. But as it goes on, you start racking up negative modifiers, things get harder, you fail a lot more rolls. And it just kind of goes into a death spiral, like it's supposed to.
Well, I remember that one episode says 1 person down, every roll is bad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you take a few bad rolls. I mean, you made pretty much all your rolls you passed. It only takes a couple of bad rolls for things to get really pear-shaped.
I only succeeded 2 times.
Yeah, but I mean, you also weren't doing like critical rolls for sneaking up and things or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything about it you think feels off that we should fix for next time?
I think everything seems alright so far. I've liked how the gear thing sort of works a bit better, and also that just replenishes. You can build up your stock and your weapons and all that as you go further on.
Yeah.
Because if your gear replenishes, then also you build more items and build more
Yeah, because I mean
I think
the roughest thing's the fatigue, but you can always just like spend supplies to restore fatigue in a pinch.
Yeah, I think we'd
Yeah,
have to
that-
wait until next session to change anything because we were more in a town most of the time.
That's true as well. And it's weird, we're only two people,
when-
you know what I mean? It's not a proper amount of players, really.
I would say if we did get into something more awkward situation wise, the fatigue thing with only like 2 players, it'd rise up very, very quickly.
Yes.
Because I noticed
Yeah.
just us going through that mine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like brink points quite a lot of the time with fatigue.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, like, with 2 people, you're not sharing the load enough.
Like, there's nothing on here that marks mana though, and I thought the list made it seem like mana was you just used it as a skill.
I mean, maybe it is, mate, because I've got like 3 or 4 systems buzzing through my head that I've been writing the last couple of days. I might be getting them mixed up. I'll read over again before next time. That's my bad. Oh, sorry, Tick.
I think you did have it as so it's run like a skill. That's what you think you did in the last session, right? So it's like a skill you roll for, it's out successful.
Yeah, I
spell
think
altogether.
me and Jack were talking about the other game, the fantasy game that I was run, and that is like mana level +2 or something like that. I think that's what I'm thinking of. But I was literally like rewriting sections of that today for when we're playing on Tuesday, and I think I've just got them mixed up. So that's my mistake. I'll try and refresh right before we play next time, so I've got it in my mind. Because even like the way the successes were going, I was like, how is that 0 when there's a 4 and stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like, my brain just wasn't clicking right.
Yeah, it's alright.
Got too many rule sets, man.
All we need to remind.
I got 3 different ones. This one and 2 other ones that I'm kind of working on just now, and they're all quite different. Usually, I'm working on ones that are quite similar. So yeah, I got bits and pieces everywhere.
I like this sheet window a lot better than the last one. I think it is work a lot better.
Hopefully. I'm kind of hoping that it's very kind of mechanical almost, the way you're like ticking off things and balancing them. It's very kind of like video gamey, but I actually hope that I'm able to write it so well that you could even play like a solo game, because you're just ticking things off for yourself and then rolling on tables to see what you encounter. You could even play it. Sorry.
Like just like a narrator voiceover telling you what's happening, and
yeah, so you could even just play it as like a solo adventure yourself. You could just sit there and just like roll some dice to see what's happening, and then tick off your things and balance that as you go. It's almost kind of like a bit of a math game, but it needs to have enough kind of narrative element to it that I actually enjoy running it.
Dark, you've basically made the Oregon Trail tabletop game.
Well, yeah, if it's gonna be a survival kind of one, it is kind of like that. That's what I mean. It looks kind of hex crawly as well, because you're going to one area and doing one thing and then rolling dice and see what you encounter. Well, if you're doing your own, you roll to see what you encounter. If you're doing it with a GM, the GM's going to make up stuff that makes sense. And then you're just balancing your different clocks. But yeah, that's the idea anyway. We'll see how far it goes. It'd be interesting to doing a proper campaign with it this time. And there's actually a bit of a story structure to it. Then you can maybe incorporate more like character background things into it as we learn more about your characters as we go along. And hopefully,
Relationships will have.
And hopefully Drax's not sick next time as well. Although the character's got the flu now.
You got a cold.
No,
So next time he has to recover from it.
No, he's got a flu. He's not got a cold, he's got flu. So I'm doing need to heal him or something. Or he's just gonna have like -1 dice to some stuff. Or I might just give him an extra fatigue, I don't know.
I'll just roll to heal him now before we go.
Oh no, we'll do it while he's there. Because he's got to know he's got the flu first. He has to suffer for it.
Well, I don't know. Would the heal spell actually work for that?
The heal spell would. No, the heal's to recover harm, right? damage.
So that's more for like actual physical injuries then.
Yeah. The flu's just like an ailment because I've got the diseases like red pox and stuff like that written down as like environmental things that can affect you. So the flu's the same.
So heal's more for like instant damage, and while the healer is more for curing sickness or anything that can go wrong.
Well, I mean,
Well,
narratively, if you're doing it to an NPC, it would be just whatever is wrong with them you could heal. But if you're doing it for a player, it's only going to heal when you've actually lost health. Because otherwise, there's nothing for you to heal.
That's why I thought healer would cover different factors. That's why I took healer rather than a healing spell, because I thought that would be
Well, they cover the
because, yeah,
same thing, it's just different ways of doing it.
Yeah, I just wanted to focus more on magic this time instead of being a shapeshifter fighter mix.
Yeah.
Who summons bears.
I'll need to go over this next Saturday and change some of the wording because I haven't updated it from the last version either, some of it. Tidy up a bit.
Is the world the same world as last time? Did we cause the ice bear apocalypse? The zombie apocalypse?
No, I imagine it's different. Or if it is the same, user in such a different part far away that what happened last time isn't going to affect this one too much.
We're not going to hear about a zombie plague heading through the...
I mean, we might. I might decide there's like ice zombies because ice zombies are kind of cool. But that depends where you get to and what happens.
another campaign to find the lost village, which was suddenly no longer ice snow, it's frozen in snow, and contains mystical treasures.
Yes, the terror of the zombie ice bear Joel called for.
I don't think I have any notes because you didn't do anything outside of what I'd already kind of planned there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's made pretty good progress because there's two of you. When there's less players, you tend to get through things quicker. But obviously, just if you get into combat or something like that, you have less actions and less health cumulatively. So it can be tougher.
Yeah, now we just gotta see if there's any if the village has any extra sleds or any vehicle type things, so we can get to the river faster.
Well, I did say they had reindeer and sleds, so those two exist. You could probably just like take a day and get those. Sorry, think.
I was saying, I don't think it's the river we're heading to. We're heading further north to the Freelands because that's where the trader went.
That's if you want to go after him. If you want to just strike out into the wilderness at random, you can do that as well.
Well, we'll have to wait for Draken. I think he has the boat.
We'll have to go sailing some point. If Draken will probably feel disappointed if we don't go sailing at least once.
Well, I mean, there's a frozen sea at the top as well as the river, so there's a couple of options for sailing at certain points, depending on where you go.
We're definitely not going to make his boat come to life and swim down the river.
Yes, we're not going to do that.
We'd have to build some arms and legs for it first.
Draw a big smiley face in the front.
Yeah, imagine it just a boat walking around like a crocodile.
It doesn't do anything, it's just a boat, but it's just got a face. It has different like facial expressions depending on how bad the situation is. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else that makes it lifelike.
All I did was animate the face, nothing else.
It's like smiling when it's happy, and it's like, oh, when it's choppy wind, choppy waves.
He's just wondering why his boat's screaming in pain.
Right, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that'll be next time.
Alright.
And hopefully things here for the whole thing.
Well, catch you next time, right?
Alright, see you later, guys.
Is there a folder to put the character sheets on, or do you want to just Discord?
Yeah, just send me them in Discord. That's the best way, because then we can both get access to it easy.
Alright, well, I'll talk to you guys later then.
Yeah.